Hey, Jeff Justice here with Jeff Justice Seminars for Court Reporters. I want to thank you so much for deciding to choose us to get your online CEUs with. We promise not to disappoint you. We provide laugh-packed, content-rich seminars so that you can get your CEUs from the comfort of your own home or office. So basically, you're going to watch the videos. As you do, print out the PDFs for the quizzes, answer the questions as you go along. At the end of the whole seminar, so if you're taking a 10-hour seminar after you finish all the sections, email me all of your answers. I will grade them and get you back your letter of completion for your state, and if you're an RPR, the proper forms for NCRA. So get ready to laugh and learn with Jeff Justice Seminars for Court Reporters. So without any further ado, a nice Illinois welcome for one of Illinois' own, Carrie, Pique, to Carrie.
Okay, is this good for everybody? Everyone can hear me fine? Okay. Good morning. It's lovely to be here with you lovely ladies on such a lovely day. We need this nice weather after our nasty, cold, snowy winter. And happy Mother's Day in advance to all of you mothers. Thank you for coming out on the day before Mother's Day. As Jeff said, I'm also an Illinois court reporter, so I need my CEUs as well as all of you do. And I've been reporting since 1999, and other than one NCRA convention that I attended, I've gotten the rest of my CEUs. With the Jeff Justice programs, I just love them. They're entertaining, interactive, hands-on, laid back. So I'll continue to do my programs, and once again, as he mentioned, the online thing, fantastic. You can do it in the leisure of your own home and earn your credits. So tell your friends about that. That's a wonderful way to do it. This is my third year. I'm honored to do it, and I'm honored to be a part of it because it is such a lovely program. And you guys just heard Anita Paul speak on difficult situation and best of the best, and what a wealth of knowledge she is, a dynamo reporter and speaker, so I'm glad sure you enjoyed her program. So the name of my program is Transcription Tells. Kind of a weird name, but why? Because we all have plenty of tells to tell about our transcripts, whether they're a horror story or something entertaining or funny, or an emotional transcript. And if we have time, we'll talk about maybe a couple of transcripts that we've done. Okay? And like Jeff said, we're going to have breaks, but I know you guys just had lunch, and it's one of the loveliest lunches around in the seminars. They really do put on good food. But if you need to use the bathroom, please feel free to use the bathroom, but come back, so I know I haven't scared you guys away. And if anyone has a question, just raise your hand and ask, and if I don't know the answer, maybe somebody else can help me out with that. So when we're talking about the transcript, it's something that we do on a daily basis pretty much as a court reporter. And so it becomes second nature to pop in those includes and stuff. But sometimes you'll have a situation and you'll be like, gee, how do I handle this? I haven't had this come up before, or I haven't come up with in a long time. So it makes you pause and stop and think. Or if you're in a deposition or a court proceeding, and a lot of times the attorneys will show up in jeans and they'll be arguing, or you'll have a pompous attorney. But we, as the court reporter, have to maintain our professionalism, even if we're having a crappy day. But we have to be professional and courteous and cheery, and to maintain the integrity of the record. So the most important thing that I would like for you to take away today is by improving your proofreading skills, you can cut down on your editing time and increase your production and thus make money, which we all strive to do as court reporters. And remember, the spoken word vanishes, but the written word remains. So with that being said, let's go right into all about the transcript, which should be on page 2. Oh, no, I haven't seen the, sorry ladies. No. Oh, it does? Okay, yes, in my section, Transcription Tells. So on page 2, and we're not in a race, we're not in a hurry, so ponder these answers, go over them, and take about 15 minutes and answer them, and then we'll go over the answers. Are we all finished with all about the transcript, or do we still have people working on it? Anybody still working on it? Okay. Well, then let's go into the answers. I'll read the question, and then if someone would like to volunteer to answer, you can raise your hand. And I'll add on my explanation as to why also. So question number 1 is list the 4 essential inclusion pages that need to be included in a deposition transcript, and then list the one that is optional depending on what the witness wants to do. Anyone like to answer that question? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I would put, before I put down this title page,
Yes.
then appearance page,
Yes.
and an index that has the examination by which attorney and the exhibits in the depth, and then my certificate. And the option would be a signature page if signature wasn't waived.
Yes, that is correct. And I just have a few things. Oh, she said that she would put down her title page, her appearance page, her index page, and her certificate, and then the optional one would be the witness certificate. And just a few things to add about that. On the caption, if there's a misspelling in the caption, you should leave it exactly as it is, correct? Is everybody in agreement with that? Because that's how it's filed in the court.
Right.
Unless maybe there's a stipulation to change it, but usually just leave it as it is. Then on the appearance page, a lot of times we all have our includes if we work for a firm that we use consistently. We just pop in the appearance page, but we might just be zooming through it and forget to change the attorney's name. So let's check or make sure they haven't changed offices so you have all the correct information on the appearance page. The index, very important because a lot of times the attorneys don't want to read through the whole transcript, so they will look on the index to see where they're questioning or where a certified question may be or the exhibits. And I think that it's very, very, very important at the bottom of the index page to put exhibits not included if you do not maintain possession of the exhibits, because you don't want someone calling you, screaming you, where's exhibit B? You had the exhibits. Where's exhibit B? So even if they don't just give you one, include that because you don't want to get in trouble for not losing that exhibit. And then for our certificate page, that we did it to the best of our ability. You know, if you started speaking Chinese, we did the best that we could when you were speaking Chinese. And then the optional, the witness or the witness's cert. And you don't need that in court cases, but I did hear that they can request to review it for scriber's error, even if it isn't a court proceeding. I've never had it happen, but I've heard that it could happen. And in federal cases, I don't believe that there's a wit cert. No, because, and on evidence steps, because they're going to be used in a court proceeding. So then you wouldn't. And I don't know if I have a question about this later on or not. So I'll bring it up now, and if it comes in again later, yes, ma'am.
I have a question about if the caption is misspelled,
Yes.
keep it that way. Well, what I've done is, like if it's a witness, like the plaintiff,
Right.
and the plaintiff's name is misspelled in the caption,
Okay, if the
I
plaintiff's
use
name
it
is
correctly during the death. Like when they say, Ms. So-and-so,
Absolutely.
even though it's incorrect.
This lady in the front,
I'm Sharon.
Sharon, she mentioned that she'll leave it incorrect on the caption page, but throughout the depth she spells it correctly, and that's what you would obviously want to do, so you get it right, because they spell out their name, so you don't want to.
Usually, yeah.
Yes. But what I wanted to add about the witness errata sheet, and I don't know if this comes up again or not, but what if the attorney does not, it's his client, his deponent that wants to review transcript. He does not order a copy of the transcript. What is the best way to handle that? Any suggestions? Yes.
Well, what we do in our office is, if, they didn't order a copy.
They didn't order a
What we
copy.
do is we send a letter
You send a letter.
notifying them that the transcript, like, if it's to the deponent,
Right.
or sometimes the attorney will say, oh, you can send me signature information to me.
To send the
So
signature
we'll send a
information.
letter saying it's available for review, and then whoever we send it to will make provisions for reading the transcript if they haven't waived.
Absolutely, because they have that, the deponent has, she said that they'll send a letter and making a time and a place available for them to come and read it, because it's their words, it's their right to review it, so we can't like hold it hostage because we want to make an extra buck. Or even, sometimes in the past, if it's been a good job, because I'm freelance, I'm not in an office where I can have someone sit there, so if I don't want to meet up with somebody at Starbucks, and it's a really good job, and the other attorney's not a jack, I might send them a complimentary copy of it. You don't have to, but you could do it, I'm just saying on that one. Okay, anybody want to add anything else about that, or shall we move on? Move on? Okay, good. Question number 2. When an attorney is at a deposition and asked to certify a question, he or she is doing what? D, that's right, requesting that it be referred to the court for a ruling for an answer. And I have an example. I'm just going to be full of these today. But I was at a deposition once, and for some reason the attorneys were dilly-dallying, and the judge is like, you have to get these depositions done no matter what. And so they were in contact with the judge, and if anything arose and they couldn't complete the depositions, well, sure enough, there's an argument. Objection. When they say objection, red flag goes up. You better start writing your fingers off to see what's coming next. But they decided to call the judge's chambers, and get a ruling on that question right then and there. So thank God it took about 10, 15 minutes to locate the judge, because I was able to go through my notes and read it back perfect. I'm like, that's one of my better readbacks. So I was happy with that one. Okay. Anyone want to add anything about that? Certifying questions? Because that doesn't come up very often. I've only had it a number of times come up. I don't know if any of you have had it come up a lot. You have, lady back there?
No,
I'm
just kind of throwing my hands up now.
Okay. Okay. But then I guess sometimes you could have transcripts that are sprinkled with them. It just depends on the mood of the attorney that day, maybe. Okay. Question number 3, would anyone like to read that one for me? Thank you.
When a witness doesn't answer verbally but shakes his or her head, which parenthetical should you use? I put A. C. I was told if you do B or C, you're interpreting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, the question, when a witness doesn't answer verbally but shakes his or her head, which parenthetical should you use? And her answer was A, no audible response. I hear a few differing opinions out here in the audience, and we will come to that, but you don't want to be interpreting their answer. And a lot of times the attorneys get mad at you if you say, was that a yes? Was that a no? Or the other side might not want his client's answer to even be heard, so he wants it to shush under the table. So we don't want to overstep our bounds as court reporters and speak up and interrupt too much, unless it's like a horrendous death. And that happened in the Justin Bieber case, and that was an example I was going to use later. I'm sure you guys all saw that, about how he was just a little jerk to the court reporter, and they wanted it read back. It sounded to me, I don't know what this case was, but it sounded like she played it back on her audio sync, and she was probably just so frustrated that that's what she did. But if you put nodding head or shaking head, I would say that would be interpreting. Now, does anyone else have anything to add to that? Like, why? Yes, ma'am.
I would put indicating. That's what I've always done. Just the word indicating.
Should I put?
You guys put indicating when they shake it.
Yeah,
Okay.
you don't know what they're indicating, they're just indicating.
Right.
That's if you're pointing to your body part.
Yeah, that's when I use indicating. Like if,
Well, that's our agency.
how far were you from the curb? About this much.
That's just-
That's when I put indicating in.
That's
Um,
judgment.
Yes, ma'am?
Otherwise, you put no audible response. You wouldn't put indicating when they shake their head.
I wouldn't. I use indicating for,
So
yes,
for
ma'am.
about this much, you would put indicating? You wouldn't just write about this much?
That's what I put.
Well, put
I
as
do,
much-
I put about this month
And also indicating
and
though?
also indicating. So you're showing what they're doing. And then the attorney picks, you wouldn't do that.
We put gesture.
Okay, but, can I go back to your point? Because then the attorney would be, okay, let the record
Right,
indicate
he
that
states
the
his record. I
witness.
feel like now at that point, you're interpreting movements and people getting up and sitting down, and let the attorney make his record. For the record, 12 inches apart, or,
How about head gesture?
You put head gesture?
No, I don't.
Oh, how about head gesture? Or finger gesture? I mean, I wouldn't put that in, but, well, the indicating, I just like to do it because it shows that there's something. If you don't do it, you don't have to, because you're right, the attorney is making the record clear. I just like to put like precisely what is happening, that's my sense of it. But I'm not saying you're wrong, because the attorney is clarifying the record, so it's just another way to do it. Anything else? Yes, ma'am.
I put nodding head up and down or shaking head back and forth. That's the same as a yes or no, it's just describing the head action.
Any opinion? She, what is your name?
Brenda.
Brenda says she's put shaking head yes or no,
No,
or,
nodding head up and down or
Nodding
shaking
head,
head back and forth.
okay. You could do that, that's not interpreting the record, but what if you get a neck roller? Then what are you gonna, So, all good examples though, thank you. Okay, the next one. When a deposition is continued to an uncertain date, you should put, which parenthetical, ladies? Correct. Whereupon the proceedings were during sine. Because you don't want to leave it left hanging, like, well, when, where.
Right.
So, and the deponent isn't finished speaking, so you wouldn't put for the deponent to say if not. Let's see. Okay. We're on to number 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Would anyone like to read that one? I'll read it. Okay. In the following, no, wrong one. In the following example, insert where you would put certified question number 1. We just spoke about that. Question, when your husband found out about the affair with your boss, comma, is that when he filed for the divorce? Answer, Mr. Jones, objection. Mr. Allen, basis. Mr. Jones, presidential. Can you, or certify that question, please? Yeah, my pictures must have okay, so where would you guys put, the certified question number 1 at? Yes, ma'am.
I would put it before the actual question, and you want certified.
I would too. That's the correct answer. You don't do that. See, I know. The first time it ever came up, I'm sorry,
Are you talking within the transcript?
within the transcript.
Not on the index, but then on the index.
Well, you do it on the index page, but also in the transcript.
You're saying you actually put the word certified question number 1? Yeah, I don't do that.
Nobody puts it in the transcript. And we started with the same agency. Yes.
What we have always done, what I was taught a long, long time ago, is when there's a certified question,
Yes.
and they'll say, certify that question, please. That's what I take, and they go on to the next question. When I do the index, I show it. But I prepare an affidavit, which is probably about 2 pages, 3 pages, that goes along with the transcript. So when they go into court to get a ruling on the certified question, it's in its own affidavit. But it's also shown on the transcript. That is the old-fashioned way of doing it. It's an affidavit.
What is your affidavit say?
Okay, what she does, it is on the index page. What Lori does is she puts it on the index page, and then she prepares an affidavit, so when it goes into court, they can rule on it. And that is a fantastic idea. I hear someone saying that is phenomenal.
Sometimes it's one question.
Sometimes it's one question?
Sometimes it's 10 questions.
Sometimes.
So on your affidavit, I have certified question number 1. I quote it, what page, what line, and then they come into court with just the affidavit of what questions. They don't have to come in with
The whole transcript. Beautiful
And
idea. I
it
love
says-
that. They come into court with just the affidavit, and she lists out the certified questions for the judge to rule on. That's fantastic. I think you've taught us all something. I'm going to start doing that. Yes.
See, a lot of times, most of the time, when I do them, that's all they want.
That's all they want is that
Certified
portion.
questions. So then,
That
it's
takes care of
just
that.
certified questions from the depositional, and I don't number question number 1. I just I would put this exchange in there, and then if there's like certified questions after that, I put asterisks to show that there's other discussion.
Okay, so you're talking about you pull it out. She is saying
Yeah, you pull it
a
out.
lot of times they just want the certified
Certified
question, and
question
then
from
she
the
puts like there were other proceedings had that weren't here, and so and that's a pain in our butt because then we have to go through and cut
Right.
that one thing out. My example was if they're ordering the whole transcript, and just for clarity's sake, because you do, and I'm not preparing the affidavit, which I'm going to start doing now because for everyone's ease. But what I do to signify to the reader where it starts is I would put it right above the question. So if they're looking for it in the transcript, it sticks out. It's like right there, boom in your face. It says on the title page, certified question number 1, page, line number, and then you know where to go. And I wouldn't put it where he says certify that question, please. I wouldn't put it afterwards, certify that question, because which question are you certifying? So you want it to be right above so it stands out. Yes?
When you say affidavit, are you signing?
Yes, it
actual
has a
signature?
caption, so that when the judge looks at this, he has all the information in the case,
so it's
who
got a
was there
caption?
representing the plaintiff, who was there for the defendant. This was the question propounded by Mr. So-and-so, number 1. And then I include the objection in the affidavit, because if they don't order the transcript, the judge is just seeing the question, but he's not really seeing what was objected to.
Yeah, back and
It's
forth.
just a way
But
of,
then do you sign that particular, there's a
Yes.
certificate for
I have
that?
someone notarize my signature for it.
There was a question, does she prepare that? I'm just repeating it for, when she prepares the affidavit, she signs it and she has a notary public sign it for.
It's
So
like
when
a
it-
separate transcript, a separate thing from the
Yes,
transcript.
if an attorney that I work for certifies the question, he's getting that affidavit whether he orders it or not, because that's how we do it. Because they'll say, I just want the certified questions. Well, and I mark them in my notes so they can pop up quickly. But they get that affidavit if they certify any questions, just automatically.
they get the affidavit, if they certify any questions, automatically, whether they like it or not.
Well, that's one
Okay.
way to get it to the judge.
Yes, ma'am.
We used to do it like that way back, and then the lawyers started complaining that they didn't want to pay for extra pages, so we were told, just stick it in the index and be done with it. So that's what.
Okay, they used
for
to
the
do
last
it.
30 years.
Look, that's the way that you used to do it, but then the
Right.
attorney was complaining about the extra pages. But, so if your client doesn't like it, don't do it, but I would maybe explain, this is actually for the ease of the judge and yourself, but if you don't want to pay for it, we'll just do it that way then. Good point. Okay, any other questions or comments on that one, ladies? Yes. Oh.
You work with the does it that way?
Yeah, L&L reporting in Waukegan.
Oh, okay.
She asked what agency, and she's from a plug. Shout out to your agency, your L&L in Waukegan.
Yes.
Okay. But you get lots of court work out there, huh? Is there a courthouse in Waukegan?
Yes, that's the
Yes.
policy.
Okay. Okay. Okay, number 6, in the example above, how would you indicate the certified question on the index page? Let's answer it again. Page number, line number. And where would you put that at on the index page? You'd put it after the exhibits? I'd put it before the exhibits. I put it in between the examination, then certified questions, and the exhibits. Okay, now this one is probably going to be open for a little bit of debate here, and I have like a paragraph written with my explanation, but I want to see what you guys have to say. In number 7, if exhibit number 1 and number 2 are marked for identification, but the following exhibit is not marked, isn't marked, comma, how do you include that on the index page? You don't? You don't.
Well, is exhibit 4 and 5 marked?
See?
Is that what it is?
Yeah. And I put, in this, I think you have to follow the attorney's QUE on this one, because if it's just once, they forget to mark it and never comes up, it doesn't matter to leave it out. But if they're referring to it as exhibit 3, but they don't mark it as exhibit number 3, but then 4 and 5 pop up, but they never mark that one, but they refer to it a lot, and it's an important exhibit, I'll just put exhibit referred to. I won't name it exhibit number 3. Maybe try and give it some kind of qualifier and just put mentioned on page so-and-so.
Each time it's mentioned or just the first time?
Just the first time, or you could put where it's not referred to and then page with the commas in it.
Oh,
That's just a way to handle that. Yes, ma'am.
When an attorney comes in with this stack of exhibits that he's
When an
got-
attorney, I'm going to repeat this so everyone can hear, so I'm going to break your question down if you don't mind. When an attorney comes in with a stack of exhibits,
he's pre-marked with stickers.
and he's pre-marked with stickers, I used to love this one. Go ahead. They're pre-marked with exhibits.
I don't put marked for example. I only put that in there if I'm the one that marks it.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Okay, she only puts them marked if she physically marks them, not if they're pre-marked. And I see a lot of you shaking your heads, and I see one lady with her hand up.
I put in the certificate or the index, I put that they were exhibits numbers 1 through 10 marked by attorney so-and-so, and in my include, I put exhibits number 1 through 10 marked by attorney so-and-so.
Okay,
He pre-marked them.
he did, and I think that's the best way to handle it.
Can you put that right at the top of the transcript or where?
If that's
Index.
on the index, she puts attorney so-and-so marked exhibits such and such, and then she puts that.
Just do like exhibit numbers 1 through 10.
I do too. At the beginning, where I will put where upon exhibit number 1 through
Right.
number 10
Right.
were marked by Mr. Fox.
That's what I do.
Yes.
see what I would do is on an index page,
On the index page, what she would do,
put the exhibit numbers,
exhibit numbers,
because during the depth when exhibits are marked, we have a parenthetical.
right.
So then on the first page of like where the depth starts, then I would put exhibits 1 through 10 previously marked as deposition exhibits 9 through 10.
Yes,
So then that, like, it would be page 4 probably.
right,
So on the index page, it would show those exhibits on page 4.
right. Because the exhibits are marked. I understand what you're saying. I used to sit and mark, and it just drove me crazy because I'm like, I'm not actually marking the exhibits, so how do I put that in there?
But aren't you initialing and dating them then too, so you technically are
No,
dealing with them?
no, a lot of
Because
times.
you should.
You should, you're absolutely right. But they don't, they just fly through. Here's the exhibits, they've got them marked, they've got them dated, and, yes ma'am,
And then another thing is, sometimes they'll pre-mark them.
they will
I always
pre-mark
get how
them.
many are pre-marked,
Yeah.
because they don't always refer to all of them in the deposition, but they were all pre-marked. So I try and get the actual numbers of the exhibits that were marked, even if they don't refer to them.
Even if they don't refer to them, you try to get the numbers that are marked,
You know,
so,
that all of them were marked, even though they weren't referred to.
right. She puts all the numbers that were marked even if they weren't referred to. Yeah, but I used to myself think I didn't mark it, I shouldn't put it in there, but they are exhibits that are being referred to in the record. And you're right, we're not initially, I'm surprised that they allow you to do that.
We'll say we do. We will do it at the end, but we still
Oh,
put the
you do
squib
it at
there
the
because they
end.
do the exhibit linking, and that's where they want to go find it. They want to find your squib for it, the attorneys. Because it's just like, wouldn't it be, what do you do in, I mean, we don't do court, but what would you do in court if they're introducing an exhibit? What do you do? Just put exhibit 2 tender to witness? What's the squib for in court? Because you're not marking it.
Whereupon exhibit number 1 was introduced into
It was
the record,
There's
are
identified
identified and admitted.
So you're
And then you have
doing
a section
squib.
for, yeah, you are.
Right, but they're all pre-marked beforehand too, so you still would do the squib when they're introducing it.
Ah,
Yeah.
see, sometimes we just have to connect our thinking, how we would do it in court to a deposition and work it that way. That's right. Same as court. Okay, very interesting conversations on that one. Okay, number 8. I'll let someone read this one. Don't want to wear out my throat here, so.
If the deposition is
Thanks,
adjourned
Jeff.
and the parties are not in agreement, would this be a proper parenthetical to put in?
Read the parenthetical, Jeff.
Whereupon, at 2:30 p.m., April 10, 2014, the deposition adjourned pursuant to the positions stated herein by the respective parties. Period. End of parentheses.
Very good. Okay, and the answer is
No.
no.
That's what
Why?
I put.
Why?
Because if they're objecting, or they're not in agreement,
Okay, you're
that's probably on the record already. So,
So what would you put?
Nothing, you gotta wait till they both agree.
well, I wouldn't put anything. Except, I mean, if they finished the deposition, I would put whereupon the deposition was adjourned or whatever. But I
You'd put
wouldn't
where the deposition was
pursuant to the
adjourned.
position was stated, but I don't think I would put that in there.
Okay,
What did she
Would
say?
that also be with the
She
signed
would've
guy
put-
with no date?
the same guy with no date.
Signed guy, like before.
Signed guy with no date.
You know, his deposition was adjourned, signed the guy, or just plain adjourned?
Well, if you just put plain adjourned, and that partner leaves the law firm, and he's got the case coming up, and he's going to trial on the case, and he hasn't bothered to read it, the whole file through, he might not know that the deposition was never completed. So I like the idea of putting that in there. I know it's not our fault, but I'm just trying to, to make the record. This is just what I was taught when I first went to work for an agency. You put in there that there was an argument about adjourning. It's not finished. There was an argument, and you can go back and read the above colloquy or whatever about why it wasn't ended, but yes.
Sometimes they have that discussion off the record,
Sometimes they have, exactly, sometimes they have the discussion off the record.
so then I just put adjourned until a time to be mutually agreed upon by the parties or something like that.
That's good. That's a good way to end this in. If you don't want to put in about, because they had the discussion off the record, you could put in whereupon it was adjourned until a date mutually agreed upon. That's a good way to handle it.
That's why usually they do go off the record. then,
They usually-
When they talk about stuff like that.
Mhm. I think this lady in the black shirt does not like that at all. You. Yeah. You,
didn't even hear what she said.
oh.
What did I say?
They do it off the record.
They do it off the record. Sometimes they do it off the record. Well, you just have to put that in somehow, whether you agree that it's, I like that there was a dispute, there was the respective parties' positions. So it goes on. Okay. Number 9. Any takers? Reading number 9.
Sure. When in a hearing, if they are taking a voice vote rather than polling each individual individually, would it be appropriate to use this parenthetical? Chorus of ayes,
No.
I use eyes in unison.
You do? Okay, same concept, same concept. And she says she puts, one more time for me, please.
Eyes in unison.
Eyes in unison. And that's how I would do it too. And you?
I put the ayes were there upon her, or the nays were there upon her.
The ayes or the nays were thereupon heard.
Not a chorus.
Okay, I like to be fancy, of course. It's my own terminology there. You just put eyes?
I just put all
Yeah.
I.
All I. Okay, that's good. That's good. Now, I heard a question come up the other day about somebody was polling a jury during voir dire, and they were all different answers. I don't know how you would handle that situation. Multiple responses, perhaps? I mean,
Well, if they have numbers, you can put your numbers.
yeah, but if they're all speaking at once, you're not going to say, Judge, could you please admonish these jurors to speak at once, which you should, or tell it, but if they all answer varying responses.
We have they've started lately to question jurors in entire panels of 12.
Yes.
They do the whole panel, and if you have a good judge, he'll do you the favor of going like a machine gun with each numbered person and letting them answer individually. 232, 247, 269.
And you have a good judge. She
If
said,
you have a good judge.
if you have a good judge.
And if you don't, they all say it together, and it's the panel of an NCRA, yeah, all indicating yes. I mean, sometimes the judge will make a record that way too and just turn to you and say all indicating yes if you have a good judge.
If you have a good. She said what a lot of times what they do when they're polling 12 jurors.
They pick it 12 at a time.
12 a time, and they'll all fire off the answer. But she says if you have a good judge, he'll give like juror 235 each a turn to respond. And if not, what did you say the judge does?
Sometimes the judge will turn to you and say all indicating yes. Sometimes the attorney will say all indicating yes. And sometimes the judge will just basically leave you hanging there and you come up with a parenthetical.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, ma'am.
Because I know too, like when you say they're asking all in one group, some will vocalize and others will stare blankly unless they're particularly asked, and other ones will, move their head. So I've interrupted at times and said, Judge, do you want me to put simultaneous voices say yes? Like, you tell me what I'm supposed to put.
You're making the record, yeah.
Okay.
It's your record.
Her question was, a lot of times when it's supposed to be a response in unison, some people won't all answer verbally. Some will nod their heads or perhaps say something else. And you said that you'll turn to the judge and ask him if he wants you to put in
simultaneous voices.
Simultaneous voices, yes.
Because really, that's all that's happening, because some will just stare blankly,
Some people will just stare blankly. So I can see your point. You're not going to want to put in yes if you see him just in la la land. So, and that's nice that you feel comfortable asking your judge. Do you work with the same judge all the time, or are you a floater?
A good portion is the same judge.
Okay, that's nice to have a good rapport with the judge where he can, or a good judge in general that will take control.
I think they don't realize
what's
happening and what tiny bit of time we have to capture what's
right. I mean, you have 12 people indicating a response in 2 seconds, and you're like, whoa, whoa. So that is nice that the judge will make it clear, or you can ask for clarification. Because then, when you get home and you're going to have to make up your blurb, or you're going to be remembering, well, how many people stared blankly, and how many? So I like that. Yeah, it's really up to them to clarify. It is. Okay, this should be a fun one. Does anyone have a nice accent that they would like to read number 10 in? Shall I read it? Okay, number 10. When the last name is pronounced differently, as in the example below, how would you indicate that in the transcript? Question, Mr. Tomato. Answer, it is tomato. Sorry, Mr. Tomato. Would you put a parenthetical in each time? And I forget which one is the correct one now, tomato or tomato? Or would you put it in only after the answer? Yes, ma'am.
I just had this come up the other day.
You had it come up
When I took
already?
his death, and his name was spelled O-R-R-E, for the last name.
Okay,
And
she
the
had a
attorney was saying Ori.
Ori, and how was it really
So then it
pronounced?
said, it's Or.
It's Or.
So then she said, oh, sorry, I thought it was Ori. So I was talking to a few of the reporters in our office,
So every,
because how do I do the distinction here? Should I put like O-R-R-E-Y, because she was saying Ori? One of the reporters said, well, you know, if you just show her saying, oh, I thought it was, they'll figure it out. She said you should use the correct spelling.
use the
But
correct
how do we
spelling,
do the
but
pronunciation?
how do you do the pronunciation? Someone in your office said just leave it alone and let them figure it out?
Well, yeah, just always spell it like it's supposed to be spelled.
Spell it like it's supposed
So
to
I
be right.
wonder what I should do.
We put a parenthetical after she says it differently, we just put different pronunciation.
Right, different pronunciation.
Yeah.
But do you do it, what, as in her instance, when they keep making the same mistake, do you put it in every time, or you
Just
just
the
put it
first
in
time.
the first time?
Then it'll look sloppy if you keep
It
going.
will look sloppy, and they might accuse us of padding our transcripts. That's what I would think. And I saw you a moment ago, like shaking your
So
head,
just
or
leave it alone.
you just leave it
Yeah,
alone.
that's what they were
Let them
saying.
figure it out.
Because she said,
Let them
oh,
figure it out.
I was pronouncing it Ori. So she knows, you know, the word there. She
Mhm.
knows. So she, yeah, they were saying, you know, just put O-R-R-E each time, because with the exchange there, they'll figure out that she was mispronouncing it.
Okay.
Is what they were
Yeah, I
saying.
think, yes, ma'am.
I prefer instead to put in quotation marks and do like a phonetic spelling. So
The
it's not
phonetic
really the
spelling.
person's name spelling, but it's
Okay,
a
I see what you're
pronunciation spelling,
saying.
like from a dictionary. You know how you can see how a word is
You would
said?
put it phonetically, you put in a blurb there, or parenthetical, phonetically spelled, or,
Yeah, you could put
Phonetically.
phonetic spelling afterward and a
okay.
blurb after
Yeah, there's a
that.
number of ways to handle it. I just wondered if, okay.
Yeah, 'cause that's interesting. That just came up.
See, a lot of these things we don't think about, but then they do come up a lot, and you're like, well, what do I do? And some people, nothing. I mean, the record speaks for itself.
Yeah, that's what they were
But then
all
some of
telling
us,
me.
it drives us nuts, and you're like, I want to do something with this. I have to do something with this. But it's not our job to make the record. You're right
Right.
about that, so. Okay. We're just moving right along. Number 11, when in a deposition, an attorney tells you to go off the record, you should B, absolutely keep writing until both the parties agree to go off the record. You don't want to be accused of being biased. Just because he's paying you and he says stay on and blah, blah, blah. No, but I was in court one time, and the judge kept saying, go off the record, go off the record. And the one attorney practically screaming and shouting at me, you stay on the record. I want to make a record of this. And my heart's pounding, but and this was a horrible day too. I was in court where I used to work in the agency. We do half a day, and then we call for a replacement to do the other half of the day of court. We were salon reporters, so I was there from like 9 a.m. until almost 7 or 8 o'clock at night because the judge wanted to finish the whole trial. I had ran out of paper back in those days, so I flipped it over and was writing on the back side of my paper. But I went off the record. And I had this attorney come up to me and say, why did you go off the record? And he wasn't even the hiring attorney. And he's like, all he is a man in a black effing robe. Well, very contentious, very contentious. Could not wait to be out of there. But I'm like, well, I'm going to do what the judge tells me to do. Which, and here is, it comes up later on. Well, it's the very next question. So I'm going to defer on this answer to somebody. I think I know the right answer, but we'll see. And the next question. When in court, if the judge tells you to strike an answer, you should strike it or leave it in case there is an appeal?
I would leave it in.
Leave it in.
Because the record is showing you that he's asking you to strike it.
Okay. Okay, her answer was leave it in, the record showing you that he's asking you to strike it. Yes, ma'am?
On the previous one though, when somebody goes off the record, if you're the person who's doing the questioning and he goes off the record because he wants to pull out an exhibit.
Oh, okay.
The
Great
person who's
point.
conducting
Great
the
point.
deposition, you would.
There is no objection there. Like if, that's a great point. If the attorney says go off the record because he's
looking for an exhibit.
looking for an exhibit or something like that, there's no dispute. You can go off the record.
You're just talking about if it's contentious.
Exactly. I'm just, exactly. Thank you for that clarification. And then that leads me to a question. In your example, would you put whereupon a short interruption was had, or would you just leave it?
If they just went off the record for a pause or something.
Until he got the exhibit.
Right. I wouldn't put anything else that's just off the record or off the record discussion or something.
Right.
Oh, you would put that in? Okay. Whereupon there was an off the record discussion had. That's a very good point for clarification. If they're not arguing about it, that they want to go off the record to look for an exhibit, you can go off the record then. Very good point.
I had an attorney one time that gave me an exhibit and he said, mark that exhibit. And then he kept talking. So I kept writing while he was talking. And he says, why aren't you marking that exhibit? And I said, because you're still talking. And he says, but you're supposed to mark the exhibit. And I thought, who taught you to make a record, you know?
Right. She was at a job once, and the attorney kept handing her an exhibit. Mark, well, why aren't you marking it? Well, you're talking. Why aren't you marking it? You're talking. There was actually a funny thing on Facebook I saw. You know, some of those snarky cards or whatever. I actually posted it on my wall. It says, when you want me to mark an exhibit and you keep talking, I want to take my shoe off and throw it at you. You know, it's just like impossible. But then sometimes I will say, well, if you want me to mark it, you have to stop talking. You know, I can't, do both at once. And then I hate it when they keep going, because then you lose track of the exhibits. And it's not our fault. Like if you try to wait until the end to mark them and figure out which one he was talking about, that's horrendous. So, yeah, I just keep writing until he stops, and then which one was exhibit 1, which one was exhibit 2. And so forth. Okay, I think we had this one come up before. 13, on the caption, if the defendant's name is spelled wrong, you should A, leave it as it is.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Just everybody's opinion. At our office, they give us captions. Like if other reporters have been on the same case, they'll give us the captions.
Let me repeat this part of your question. At her office, they give you captions if other reporters have reported on the case before. Go ahead.
So how do you know if it's not an error by the previous?
How do you know it's not an error by the previous court reporter versus the case is filed wrong? I see 3 hands. Yes, ma'am.
If it's a Cook County case, you can go on the circuit court.
But even that's wrong too sometimes.
She said if it's a Cook County case, you could go, hold on one second, I'm going to repeat the answer so that people can hear. You can go on the Cook County website and check and see it, but she says she's seen them wrong too, and then someone else was going to add something.
If I see the caption wrong, I'll ask the attorney. I noticed that the spelling is wrong. Is that how it's filed, or is it an error on?
And that is the best way to deal with it. She'll ask the attorney, is this the correct way, check it against the document, is this the way it's filed, or was it a mistake? Yeah. Yes.
I usually, have it and I'll show it to them when they come in and say, is this the latest caption,
Oh, that's another good point. She'll have the caption, and when the attorneys come in, she'll show it to them and say, is this still the correct caption? Because sometimes parties can be dropped out, and so that's not there anymore. Yes.
I do have a question. Does anybody know of the website for like DuPage or Another Will County?
Does anybody know of the website you page in Will County?
Will counties before just by Googling, like Will County e-docket or something like that, but.
Will County e-docket?
Yeah, I think I found Will counties.
That would be nice to
I know
know.
the website.
That would be nice to know. We all need a little notebook, and we need to get together as a group and publish all these wonderful websites that we could go to. Okay, oh, and that got me back to the very first question, what should be on the appearance page, or in the transcript? On the appearance page, if it's an et al. Case and there's 1,000 doctors and 1,000 different defendants, instead of putting the attorney representing all the defendants, you would put each attorney representing each defendant, correct? I just wanted to add that.
Yeah.
Because it just popped into my brain here. Okay, number 14. If a portion of a transcript is confidential, you should put what asterisks to block out the words that are confidential, or put it in a separate transcript marked confidential.
Would you be?
B, yes, put it in a separate transcript marked confidential. Because you don't want it for anyone and everyone's eyes to see. If it's of a sensitive nature, or perhaps a police officer's address, you don't want them to know where the police officer lives. And also, if you just put the stars, it's gone in outer space forever, the answer. So yeah, you put it under a separate transcript. Okay. Can somebody do 15, please?
I thought we did that one.
Did we do 15? Well, we did it, but it was in a previous question. Okay, so when a deposition is written and signature is reserved, but the attorney that reserves signature on behalf of his client, his or her client doesn't order, you should set up a time and a place for them to do it, or perhaps give them a complimentary transcript. Can you guys still hear me? Because I feel like it's still good? Okay.
Now it's louder.
It's now louder? Too loud?
No.
Okay. Number 16, ladies.
If you are in court and they are playing a videotaped evidence deposition, you should A, take it down verbatim and include it in your transcript, or B, ask the attorneys if you need to include that, and if not, put in a parenthetical that says. I personally ask my clients every time if they want it transcribed or not, but I don't know if I can put verbatim this
Okay.
exact parenthetical in.
Okay, the question is, if in court they're playing a videotaped evidence step, you should take it down verbatim and include it in your transcript. B, ask the attorney if you need to include that, and then put in a parenthetical. She asks her client every time if they want to include it in the record or not. She doesn't necessarily put in that verbatim parenthetical. It would be nice to have those extra pages to sit there and take a whole evidence step down, but it would also just all the confusion and yes, ma'am.
I think if you put in that parenthetical, though, it could be more, I mean, it could infer that there was more than just the video played that was not stenographic recorded.
Okay.
So I
As
would
she's
just put in that, you know, the videotape deposition was played for. I would do played for the court and jury.
I like that. I actually like that ideal. She says if you put in this parenthetical, whereupon further proceedings were had that were not stenographically reported, that could indicate that there's other things going on other than the videotape being played. So she put the whereupon the videotape was played for the jury. I like that. That clearly shows what's going on. Yes,
I
ma'am.
put whereupon a video evidence deposition of Dr. So-and-so was played in open court.
Okay, I like same concept. She puts whereupon. One more time, whereupon
the video evidence deposition.
Evidence deposition of Dr.
So-and-so
was played in open court.
Right.
Perfect. I like that.
Yeah, I was referring to sometimes DEA has videos or something like that where it's
right. I just put it in there so that if
Yeah,
they were
that's
looking for it,
very
they
good.
can find what page it was on.
Very good.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now, if it's just an evidence deposition, but not a videotape, do you like
Oh, no,
put the
no.
testimony in the record? Because I had one tape.
Okay, let me make sure I'm understanding your question. If it's a videotape,
No, it's not a videotaped evidence step, but it's an evidence step.
it's an evidence
Because the
step
doctor can't be in court.
that they're
So they
reading?
took the evidence step.
Uh-huh.
And the only time I've ever done that in court, one of the attorneys actually took the stand and read the evidence deposition as if the doctor was testifying. They went like from the evidence deposition.
She's saying they read
And have
instead.
that record.
Okay, instead of it being a video, and I've had that happen too, where they'll have somebody else get on the stand and read as they're the doctor and the attorney's questioning.
So you
And that's a
still put
good
the
impact for the jury. It's, you know,
So do you still put the parenthetical in, or do you actually take the testimony?
I don't take, that's again, you have to ask the client whether they want it taken or not. Because the reading, there could be variations in the reading and you mess up, and so I'd rather not take that down, but clarify with the client.
Sometimes they mess it up.
Sometimes
So
they mess it up, yes.
That's why, you know, if you put down what they actually said in the courtroom, what the jury heard, unless the copy of the deposition they're reading from goes back, which it usually doesn't, at least in
your
courtroom with my judge, I don't know.
Right.
But, so we would always write what exactly read.
You would, okay, that's a good point. You would write exactly what was read.
Because it maybe was
because
misread.
it could have been misread. And I have had that happen, but I haven't taken the whole thing down. But they'll take like a sidebar or something and they'll say, this was reread. So can we reread it correctly for the record? Or should we start having the court reporter take it down from this point on? And that's, so, yeah, that has come up also. Any comments on that, ladies? No?
Because then the question becomes, do you put down what was said in the court, or do you go back to the original transcript?
Do you
so
put
that
what
it's
was said in?
consistent?
And that's hard to do if you're not taking the record, if you're not originally
No, but I
taking.
mean, if you are taking, I mean, just as, because, I don't know, I'm asking, if you're doing it and it doesn't
If you're doing it,
conform to what they did in the original deposition, and the attorneys don't catch it,
and the attorneys don't catch it.
do you look at the exhibit where they have been reading from the deposition and follow the
No.
exhibit, or do you put down what they said?
You put down what they said in
That's
court.
what
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, number 17, if the witness is not answering verbally, is it the court reporter's job to ask the witness, was that a yes or a no?
No.
No. Anyone say yes? No? No yeses there? Okay. I mean, a lot of times we would like to clarify it for our own sake, but once again, we don't want to be accused of being biased or so. And can someone please read 18 for me? Oh, thank you so much.
When an attorney is reading and says quote unquote, do you put the words quote unquote and the quotation marks? For example, which would be the best way to show she said you are fired? A, she said quote unquote, you are fired. B, she said you are fired. Now, the attorney says quote unquote, you know, I would put A.
I would do A, but not put the quotes in.
Well, the attorney is reading and says quote unquote.
Yeah, so.
So I would put A because.
She says she would put A because they're actually reading, so she would put in the words quote unquote. And Christina says that she would, but she wouldn't put in the quotation marks, just the words.
Yeah.
And me, I would say B in this instance because quote, they're quoting. It's plain and simple. There's no ambiguity in there. It's, quote, you are fired. But if the attorney's just talking gibberish and quoting this and quoting that, then I put the words in. And probably not the symbols, because you don't really know what they're quoting, what they're not quoting. That's when I use the words.
Quote unquote.
Quote unquote.
And then
yes.
you don't put the quote marks in?
No.
Should, yeah.
No. Okay. Anything to add on that one? Okay. So what we'll do right now, just because we worked so hard and we deserve it, it's not a break, so don't think you guys are getting a break this easy. But I would like you to turn to one of your neighbors and just talk about like the most embarrassing situation that you've had at a proceeding, in court or a deposition or an arbitration or something, and then we'll just share a few of those. So pick a partner and talk about your most embarrassing situation.
I know everything about it. Great. Yeah, embarrassing because I don't know. I was a ton of embarrassing situations.
I know, so I had to, you know how it's a step to get up.
Okay, ladies, have we all have a little story we could share? And I'd like to start up here if I can, because I saw a little cha-cha action. Was somebody doing a cha-cha? Or what was that about?
I was it was a long time ago, but I was in a deposition, we were in progress.
She was in a deposition a long time ago. It's in
knock on the
progress.
door.
A knock on the door.
And unbeknownst to us, it was the taking attorney's 40th birthday, and a belly dancer came in.
Oh, a belly dancer came in on the attorney's 40th birthday.
Perform
Wow.
her belly dance or whatever, and I've never had that happen in 37 years. So I told the attorney afterwards, I said,
That's
if I ever
cute.
write my memoirs, you're in it. But yeah. That was
Okay, that's a cute story. It was the attorney's birthday, and a belly dancer came in and performed. And if she ever writes a book, it's going to be included in there.
But I won't write a book.
Oh, I will. Hey, we all should. We have some pretty crazy stories. But what did you just do? You didn't put anything in the record about there was an interruption.
No, we were
at
just
it.
all laughing.
Okay, anybody else care to share a story?
Yes, I would like to share her story.
Okay, share her story, please. Oh, get it right then.
She was at a law firm and she accidentally walked into the men's washroom, used the men's washroom, and she walked out.
Hold on.
You forgot the first part.
I want to get this
I went into the men's washroom.
I want to get this. She was at a deposition. She walks into the men's washroom and.
Well, no. See, I go to this law firm often, and I usually come from, let's say, the one side, so you pass the men, get to the women, pass them. Well, one time I came from the other side, and I was used to going past the first one to get to the second one, and I just was going around. I had no idea.
You
so I
went
was
to-
washing my hands, and I looked like, this looks different.
So she's
and then
in
I see the urinal, I'm like, oh, wow.
So she doesn't realize she's in the men's bathroom until she sees the urinal. Were there any men in there?
No, but when I open the door to leave, here comes the attorney I'm working with. He's
Oh,
like,
no.
"That's what I'm like, yeah, I know. Yeah.
So when she went to leave, there was the attorney. That she was. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Any other stories, ladies? Any others? Yes, ma'am.
I was at a deposition one time, and there was this really handsome witness.
A handsome witness.
Yeah, really
Ooh.
handsome. And I was asked to swear him in, and it solemnly swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, until death do us part. And he just looked at me.
Okay, so she was swearing in a really, really good-looking witness, and she says, "You solemnly swear to tell the truth until death do us apart." That's a cute one. Okay, any others that we want to? Yeah. Okay.
Let's see, I had a very, very obese witness.
An obese
And
witness.
we were at like a two-story brownstone.
Two-story brownstone.
The office was on the second floor. He couldn't go.
Aww. Second floor.
He couldn't go upstairs.
He couldn't go
We wound up
upstairs.
taking the deposition outside in the little courtyard. kept saying he had to go to the bathroom at the end, and the lawyer's like, I'm almost done, I'm almost done. Well, he just peed all over everything. The ended abruptly. So, so what kind of squib would you put on the end of that?
Nature called. She was in a deposition, and it was a obese witness, so they had to take the deposition outside, and the witness kept saying, I have to use the bathroom, and the attorney's like, we're almost done. Well, the witness used the bathroom, and the dep was done. Wow. People have no idea. And then when I'm out at a dinner party or something, and people are like, tell us some stories. You must have the best stories. Can't think of one sometimes, you know? Okay, yes.
I was a fairly new reporter in 1969. I had to go to Hines VA Hospital.
Uh-oh.
Some kind of orthopedic floor. And when I got off the elevator, there were 6 or 7 men on gurneys, on their stomachs, naked, using canes to just go up and down the floor. I'm like, I get, hi, sweetie, hi, honey, how are you? I didn't know where to look.
Okay.
Where are you going? You know?
So this lady, when she starts reporting back, I'm assuming you were just started reporting.
Yes,
in 69, she was at the Hines VA, and she's like on an ortho floor, and there's a bunch of gurneys and stuff, and there's naked men walking, and you're like, hi, sweetie, how you doing? I would have been so nervous for like the first 30 minutes of that job.
I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, after that, it was crazy.
Yeah, that was crazy. Okay. Okay, so everyone is back, and now we're going to move on to section number 2, how punctuation and capitalization can make sentences read differently. And I have a spelling mistake there. And spell check didn't catch it either. But back when I had first started reporting, something like that would have kept me up for nights. I wouldn't have been able to sleep. Oh, I made a mistake. I'm so stupid. I can't face that person again. Now I'm like, big deal. So what? Life goes on. So, I don't know. You guys probably jumped ahead and did this section. Did everybody do this section already? No? Okay, well, why don't we take then about 10 minutes and let the ladies that don't have it done finish it? Oh, but in the meantime, while you're doing that, I just wanted to tell you guys, if punctuation is used correctly, it can enhance the overall structure, organization, and clarity of our writing. But if it's used incorrectly, it can become cumbersome and inhibited, just not making it easy for the reader to understand the material flow. And punctuation is also like a roadmap. Like, you could think of it as telling us it's a dead-end street. The punctuation lets the reader know that it's changing the direction of what's happening. Is everybody done with how punctuation and capitalization can make sentences read differently? We are? Okay. Well then, let's get started here. Number 1, let's eat grandpa. I'm not cannibalistic. I'm sure none of you guys are. So there would be a period before grandpa, right? I mean a comma. Thank you.
Now, would you also capitalize grandpa?
I would capitalize grandpa. Let's eat, comma, grandpa, capital G. Because there's not a pronoun, it's not my grandpa, it's like a direct address, so grandpa, so you cap grandpa. Now, number 2, I apologize for the inappropriateness of this, but it just shows that punctuation and capitalization can make a difference. Does anyone want to read that one? No? No, okay.
I would say it should be capital U and capital J.
It should be a capital U and a capital J because
Capitalize the U though, it's his uncle, not help Uncle Jack. It's his uncle, which is not.
you're supposed to, in a like family members, you capitalize Uncle Jim, Uncle Paul.
Uncle Jack off the horse.
There you go. You see, these are.
Instead of John helped his uncle.
Continue.
Jack, comma, off the horse. His uncle is.
I understand what she's saying too. So maybe we should. John helped his uncle, comma, capital J for Jack. He helped his uncle Jack off the horse. It doesn't read correctly, but if we leave it all unkept, that's for sure not nice. So I think we'll just move on because that was a little too racy. But I hope you got where I was going with that. But
I thought she was going for Rachel.
okay, who would like to do number 3, please? Read it with the punctuation.
Rachel Ray finds inspiration in cooking, comma, her family, comma, and her dog.
Okay.
I did do that. I forgot a word for it.
Yeah.
That's what I did. For her dog.
Yeah, she doesn't enjoy cooking her family and her dog. She finds inspiration in cooking, her family, and then her dog. And this brings me to a point, I don't know if you guys want to discuss this now or the later time or not at all. But what about that Oxford comma, otherwise known as the serial comma? Do you guys use that still or not? You do.
Michael.
Before the last and.
I've seen his letters.
Most people are still using that. They said definitely use it because it does. See, I think I'm going to change my mind. I was doing away with it just because the way I like the way that it looks, but it could cause a lot of confusion. Right.
Cooking, her family,
And her dog. They're 3
So
separate.
that's why I use it.
Okay. But a lot of people are saying that you don't have to use that last comma before the conjunction.
Right.
Seems like everybody's in agreement on that, though, that they still use it. You don't? You do? You don't?
She's in my office, I let her.
Right. I mean, what a nice boss she is. She lets you use it. No. I think for clarity's sake, you could use it either or. It's unless it changes the meaning of something.
Right.
Okay. Now this one is a very confusing one. 4. Would anyone like to take a stab at how they think that would be? Yes, ma'am.
I would say, who did the inventory search other than booking, comma, officer Compton, question mark?
That definitely should have a question mark at the end. You said you would do, who did the inventory search other than booking?
Comma, officer Compton. I did actually officer Compton. Who did the inventory search other than booking?
I thought it was booking officer.
It is booking officer Compton because that could be like they could be booking, they could be doing the inventory search and then booking officer Compton. So I would capitalize the B in booking for sure.
So he would be the person booking officer Compton.
Yes. And then I was thinking to even clarify it more, you could put who did the inventory search. So I'm talking funny, I have a piece of candy in my mouth, comma, other than booking officer Compton. But then if you flip that around, it would read like you were, other than booking officer Compton, who did the inventory search. So it's looking like, if it's not capped, like you're booking him. So I think it reads best as who did the inventory search, comma, other than capital B, officer Compton, question mark. Everybody agree with that? Sure. We're okay with that one? Okay. Number 5. Who would like to take a stab at that one? Okay, thank you.
Number 5, hunters, comma.
Yes.
Please use caution when hunting, comma, pedestrians using walk trails.
Right. So you
I would put a comma between hunting and pedestrians, but I don't know if that's right.
Or a semicolon, semicolon, or a period, right? Because the hunters aren't hunting the pedestrians, so you need something to break that up there. Ma'am, in the back with the red glasses, you raised your hand. You wanted to answer, or you wanted to add something to that?
Oh, no, I just was going to read the question.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. Would you mind reading the next one then, please?
Well, the next one says, do not use Connie. I have no idea. I left it alone.
You left it alone? Okay.
I don't know what that is.
I would comment for Connie.
Right.
Like if you're telling Connie, do not use Connie. It could be both ways.
It could be both ways. Just
But you don't want to
we don't know the context, but like you could say you do not use Connie. Connie could have a bad drug addiction, and we're saying, hey, Connie, stop using. But
or they could be talking to Connie.
they could be, or they could. I could be telling Christina, do not use Connie as a court reporter because she's horrible. So don't use Connie.
Right.
So it's just showing how the comma can make it read, how you do change the reading. Okay. Anyone like to read number 7 for me?
All fields are closed, no trespassing, period. Violators will be prosecuted.
Right. Once again, there you need the.
Prostituted.
I saw. Yeah. I don't even want to know where you're going with that one.
There was a sign that somebody said shoplifters will be prostituted instead of prosecuted.
Oh.
In the store and put it up on the wall.
Yes, it's amazing what people are doing with the English language lately. Okay, here's another, number 8. Who would like to read number 8? Yes, in the front, please, Julie.
Jim needs a camera battery and case, or a camera, comma, battery and case.
Right. He needs all 3, so we'll put the commas in. Yeah. Okay, number 9. This could also have 2 interpretations also, depending on what you want to do. Did Jane claim John made the mess? Or you could put quotation, Jane, comma, claim John, comma, hyphen, made the mess.
No, I just put Connie.
Well, that's just, okay, yeah, because I probably said some wrong words in there. John could be claiming that Jane made the mess. So then you would put it in,
James, comma, John.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
right, yes. Are you guys getting this back there, or are you confused? Because I'm hearing, everybody's got that? Okay. We're fine?
Doesn't it really depend on the tone or the intonation when they were saying it?
Good point, and it claims on the tone or the intimate. These are just, this is just kind of like a fun little exercise to show how it really can change the thing. Yeah. Okay, number 10, a pretty tall girl. Was she a pretty tall girl, like 6 foot tall, or was she pretty and tall? So, and everyone looks tall to me, so, but I would put a comma between pretty, tall girl. Now, every time I prepare a seminar, I always put one of my children as an example. So my son's name is Sebastian. So would someone like to read this one for? And he is nuts. He really is nuts. Would someone like to do number 11? Yes, ma'am.
Sebastian, comma, can you calm down, comma, please? You always show up your, should be apostrophe R-E.
Right.
Not.
Yeah. Because he's showing us that he's crazy nuts. He's not pulling drop a trowel and saying, look, Mom. You know, thank God. Okay. Let's see. Number 12. Don't use commas which are unnecessary. That's saying don't use commas because they're not necessary. So you'd want to put a comma between commas and which. Wait, no, that's wrong. That's wrong.
Short of a sentence.
I put aren't for punctuation. Don't use commas with aren't unnecessary.
That's double negative.
Oh, that's right.
Double negative? Yeah. No. You know what? There's no punctuation at all in that sentence. No punctuation. Don't use commas which are unnecessary. And if there's a double negative, I apologize.
Only if she made it aren't.
Okay. Oh, okay. Because commas are necessary, obviously, so we need to use them. So there's no punctuation in that sentence. Now this one I don't like because it's sad. I don't, but it is, no, it's not funny. I'm serious.
I just got what the sentence said, that's why I was like,
Okay.
you said it, not that that's it.
Yeah. Okay, so number 13, can somebody read that?
Slow, period, children crossing.
Thank you. Thank you.
My driver's ed didn't take it that way though until she just said that.
It's because you're slow.
There's a little banter going on back there, but she was just kidding. No, it's okay. So no need to apologize. Okay, how about this table? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I can't count. 1, 2, 3. The fourth table, because I heard you guys talking about this one. So why don't you read that one, please?
They were talking.
Oh, it was then? Oh, sorry. One table up.
I'll read it. Is the signature at the bottom of your mother? Is the signature comma at the bottom comma of your mother?
Question mark.
Yeah, question mark.
Question mark.
Yeah, let's hope so. And tomorrow, yeah. Is the signature at the bottom of your mother?
See, the way it is like it is, it sounds like it's at the bottom of the sheet or something.
Right.
So I would put a comma.
Right. Okay. Now this next one is difficult. No matter what way you think about it. Cub Scouts, even if you make it plural possessive, are you selling the, because I'm sure there's lots of brats in the Cub Scouts, but they're having a brat sell.
I would put
Apostrophe. I would put Cub Scouts apostrophe, but then I would like put a capital B for yes. There you go. Thank you. You clarified it for all of us. Cub Scouts apostrophes showing possession, and then capital B for brats, not brats. Yes, it is a name brand. Thank you. Okay. Number 16 is a pretty easy one here. Did I skip a page or are we on the right? Okay. Number 16. Sure, there may be quite a few corrupt judges, but we want to, how would you do this? When I saw you raise your hand.
This one, comma, judge, comma, is corrupt.
Right. Not saying that the judge is corrupt, but saying this piece of evidence or whatever. SD part is corrupt, yeah. Okay. Now 17, this one can be done a few different ways. Yes, ma'am.
A man without her woman is nothing.
Right.
Without her woman. Oh, that's right.
A woman, you could put semicolon, without her, comma, man is nothing. Man is nothing without his woman? Or would that change it too much? Would that...
I would just do commas.
You would just do comma?
Yeah.
A woman?
Without her.
But then it reads a woman without her. Okay, man is nothing, right. Okay, got that, yeah. Okay, One of my favorite portions, we're all ready to move on then to homonyms, synonyms, antonyms, and commonly confused words. And this is one of my favorite. I always, even in court reporting school, I love like vocab and stuff. I just love learning new words. And so this is just a fun little section. If you guys want to take 10 minutes and go through and answer it. You say let's roll? Is everybody finished? Okay, homonyms, synonyms, antonyms, and commonly confused words. Number 1, what is the antonym for sinuous in the list of the following words?
I put D.
Everybody put D. Everybody's right. It is unbending. Okay, number 2, can somebody read that, please? Okay, go ahead.
What is the antonym for the word innocuous in the list of following words? I put insipid.
It's toxic.
Oh.
Innocuous means no adverse effect. When it's unobjectionable, you're not questioning anything feeble. You think of a feeble old person. Insipid is a calm personality. Toxic is toxic, really bad. Like, I'd rather be in an innocuous relationship than a toxic one. So the correct answer is D, toxic, for number 2. Would someone like to read 3? Yes.
Okay, what is the antonym for the word stentorian as used in this sentence? Some public speakers favor a stentorian delivery and emphatic gestures to drive their message to their listeners. I put D.
That's correct, hush. I would not consider myself as a hush speaker nor a stentorian, but I'll go ahead and repeat it so everyone can hear the answer. What is the antonym for the word stentorian as used in the sentence, colon? Some public speakers favor a stentorian deliverer and emphatic gestures to drive their message to their listeners. It would be hushed. It's quiet. It's not booming or thundering. Okay, number 4. And I don't think anybody uses proofreader insertions anymore. Do you really? That's good. I make up my own. I'm like LC. I don't know. I just make up fun. Okay. So, since you still use it, will you read the question, please?
What is a proofreader's insertion mark? I put A.
Isn't it B, Carrot?
I don't know how to spell it.
I
know the word.
It's
I
B.
know how to do it.
It's B.
Oh, okay.
So 4 is B.
I know it's not a Bugs Bunny.
I could go for some carrots right now, though. Bugs Bunny carrots. Okay, number 5, the young virgin was. It should be B. She's a lovely young lady, so she's CHASTE, but most likely it's both. So B or C could be correct in that one. Number 6. Okay, go ahead.
Carla has an ingenious plan to earn money this summer. B.
That's correct. She has inventive skill and imagination to make money. Okay, number 7. Yes, ma'am.
During voir dire, the prospective jurors were questioned by both sets of counsel as well as the judge. That would be A, prospective.
That's correct. And you pronounce it very nice, too. During voir dire, the prospective jurors were questioned by both sets of counsel as well as the judge. 7 is A. 8. Anyone? Okay, go ahead, please.
The suspect was attempting to elude from the detectives.
Very good. Correct. Number 9. Oh, I should repeat that. This number 8. The suspect was attempting to elude from the detectives. That shouldn't be from the detectives. It should be elude the detectives.
Just elude the detective?
Yeah, strike out the from there. And it's B, E-L-U-D-E. Number 9. A. The players were, each one was ready for the game. So it's B, already, 2 words. The players were B, already. I'm sorry. 9. What am I saying? 9 is A. Yes. 2 words. Now we're ready to move on? Okay, so since I had my son in a previous question, now my daughter, she's Mia, she's in this question. And she's not nuts, she likes to study. So Mia has B, already, A-L-R-E-A-D-Y. 1 word, study the chapter, meaning previously. Okay, number 11. Yes, ma'am.
The jurors seemed disinterested as counsel drove on during the closing argument.
That's right. The jurors seemed disinterested as counsel droned on during his closing argument, meaning they were impatient. Not that they were not interested. Hopefully they were interested since they're the jurors. Okay, 12.
The root canal was tortuous for the young patient. Tortuous.
Which?
Oh,
B.
it should be D.
Torture. Yeah, that's a good way to remember the spelling on that one. The R, like torture. It's very unpleasant and painful. Okay. This one's an oldie but a goodie. Who could ever stop talking about Mike Tyson? Mike Tyson seemed blank after biting off a piece of his opponent's ear.
I put cannibalistic.
Yes, he was cannibal. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he didn't want to start eating people. He just was mad at the moment. So, A, he was smug about it. Okay, we're on 14 already. We're flying through these. Okay, the BMW was at the end of the B. And that sounds so funny when you spell it, doesn't it? The BMW is at the end of the Q. Q-U-E-U-E. B. 15? Yes.
The intimate lovers were very discreet. B.
B. Yes, they were secretive. The intimate lovers were very B, discreet, secretive. If they were the other discreet, D-I-S-C-R-E-T-E, they would be separate and distinct, and obviously they weren't. So 15 is B. 16. Yeah, 16 is A, that's correct. I hope Lindsay Lohan is ready when the director gives her his cue, C-U-E. Let's hope she's not out at a drinking party or something. She's ready. Because her poor career needs to come back. It really does. Okay, can someone read number 17 for me, please? Okay.
How do you propose to defuse the situation during the tense briefing to the families of the Malaysian Flight 378?
Right. How do you propose to A, diffuse the situation during the tense briefing to the families of the Malaysian Flight 370? Number 18. Okay.
The plane was en route from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing when it went missing. That would be A.
That's correct. A. The plane was on, I don't know how you would say it. It's a French word, en route. A, from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing when it went missing. I recently just learned that not too long ago. I wonder how many times I've gotten it wrong. Not that big of a deal, but it's just funny how you just learn things and you're like, wow. After all this time. Okay, 19, I want you to answer all together. Be all together, 2 words, that's correct. And a way to remember that is you can substitute a word in there, like I want you girls all to sing together. Okay, so number 20 is be all together, like collectively. Gus earns more than Jill, like after you get all your 1099s and your W-2s. So 20 is be all together. 21, Osama bin Laden was the millionaire blank fighter who became the world's most notorious terrorist. B, guerrilla fighter. Okay, how about 22? Although both are named after Columbus, the U.S. capital is in the district of A, Columbia, because B refers to a South American country. And I would just like to pick your brains here for a second, ladies, about U.S. Do you like U period S period, or do you like the U.S.? You leave the periods?
But you know, they say they're changing it, like for MD and PhD.
They say they're getting away from it, yeah.
and LLC, they're getting away with all the periods.
That's right.
Maybe US should be.
In Greg's, it says not to use them.
Really?
Like, it's considered like as USA, US, not to use them. But in Bad Grammar, Good Punctuation by Margie Wakeman Wells, she says to use them. So there's so many different, that's why it's because, I mean, it's really becoming confusing sometimes if you think about these, because there's so many different style guides out there. That's why I like just like look at the dictionary and kind of just go with what's in the dictionary. Because you could drive yourself crazy thinking about all these different things. So, okay. And this one I got wrong for many years too. Thank God I didn't use the first one, but number 23. The nursing, B-A-I-D-E, was accused of being neglectful in her duties as it related to patient care. It's not the A-D-E because it's not a drink.
Right.
And A and C, A-I-D is to help someone.
With the E on the end, I think person.
I like that. That helps you remember. With the E on the end, it helps you remember person. Okay, here's an interesting one. Let's see if people get this one right. Anyone want to do 24? Nobody wants to do 24. The material B, it looks like it's just a misspelled word. The material closet at Fort Bragg contained just about everything except for ammunition. B material spelled that way, it is military materials and equipment.
Oh, but would they both be technically correct? Because material is military material.
Yeah, right.
Well,
Military material.
it could be material, but say the sign on the door is gonna have the, yes. Okay, number 25. A.
Yeah, that's what I put.
Were you the one who left the milk on the table all night? Okay. Now let's take, say, 5 minutes, turn to your neighbor and talk about your most difficult spelling word. And there, come up with 3 of them. 3 of them. I just had one the other day. I didn't realized that I could have been misspelling it, maybe I wasn't. Separate. It's S-A-P-A-R. It's E-P? S-E-P-A. Congrats. Spell it for me.
That's what I would have, what is
S-A-R-A-T-E. Okay, 2 A's and 2 E's in that. A-rat, that's how I'll remember it. Because I used to always get that one wrong. Thank you for that. Okay, so you guys discuss amongst yourselves 3 most difficult spelling words. 3. Who won the spelling bee in school?
Don't listen to A.
I was going to say congratulations. I have good hearing. Even though sometimes when I'm in deaf, I can swear I'm going deaf. I'm like, why can't I hear? But selective hearing, I guess. That was a good one. I heard someone say, how do you spell disc? And there's a difference, and I just can't remember it right now.
Yeah, this is for.
Okay, does anyone want to share some of their most difficult spelling words? You can spell everything perfect? I'm calling you when I need spelling help. Okay, what are some of your words? Yeah.
I always get confused and have to look up when they say is it incumbent or incumbent.
Oh, yeah.
So I always get to look those up.
Incumbent and incumbent.
I think it would be EN, and then like a political person that's running again, I think it's incumbent. So I always get to look those up.
Does anyone know the difference between incumbent and incumbent with the E and the I?
Incumbent, I think it's like pure.
Encumbered.
The onus is on you, it's incumbent upon you.
Okay, encumbered. If you want to take that from the root word.
Okay.
That's
And then incumbent
would be coming in political office.
And I always have to think twice about affect and effect.
Oh, that's a whole can of
The way I
worms.
was thinking about is effect, if you think of result.
The result, the effect of it was.
Effect is like influence. So how did that affect you? How did that influence you? That would be A.
A.
So that's kind of how I.
That's how she remembers affect and effect. That if it's E, it brings about the result, but if it's A, it's how did it affect you?
Like how did it influence?
How did it influence you? Anybody have any tricks for that one? No. I had an example, and it's not coming, like, how did the market drop affect your income? Because it's something that exists, so it affects it. That's how I think of effect.
Yeah, it's how did it influence?
Right.
That's how I do it. And it's the
Or impact. Because yeah, that's really good. Affected because it has the A.
Or what would the effect on the market, be?
That would be
That would be the E.
that would be E because it's right.
Yeah. So that's how I distinguish the two. Influence and result.
Any other spelling errors?
It's just de minimis I always have a problem with.
Oh.
I hate de minimis. I accuse an attorney of making up that word. I'm like, de minimis, how do you spell it?
2 words now.
You do?
N-I-N-I-M-U-S or whatever. It's 2 words, and I always can
it
never
is.
remember it's 2 words.
And it's really hard to find too when you're looking it up. And yes, ma'am.
It says here that incumbent, E-N, is a common misspelling for incumbent. So I never thought that E-N-C-U-M was a word.
Neither did I.
That was the Oxford Dictionary.
Okay, and what's the definition with an I?
That's the right
I don't have the definition. I'm cheating.
She looked up incumbent And it means like the political person coming in with the E?
Or in office, he's incumbent.
Oh.
But if it's incumbent upon you, I think it'd be E and not the I. I always have to look them up when I'm saying.
It's always an I? When is it always an I?
Incumbent. There is no incumbent.
Oh.
That's what she's saying.
Oh, okay. It's, thank you. Thank you. That clarifies. It's always an I. There's no.
Might be confusing it with encumbered, which is an E.
Okay.
That's what it is. Yeah.
I know I always look them up. I always think maybe
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank God for technology. Anybody else with difficult spelling words?
Right of allocution. For the longest time, I thought it was allocution, but it's right of allocution.
2 L's?
And they mean kind of similar. I mean, they're both talking about speaking, but they don't mean the same thing.
Right of allocution.
Is that criminal?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
For like the first 25 years, I think I used to spell insure all the time, I-N-S-U-R-E. And you know, it's in the United States Constitution, it's I-N. So I don't know if E-N is just a new word or...
Very interesting point. For 25 years, she spelled insure I-N-S-U-R-E, and it's in the Constitution.
United States.
And now, it's probably a new word that they just threw in to confuse us.
They didn't know how to spell back then.
No, but they didn't know how to spell back then. Okay.
What does the Google say?
So we do have the option, we could take a break, even though you guys, I'm leaving at 3:45. You guys have cookies coming at 3:30, but you can't eat them till 3:45. So you have a choice. Would you like to keep going, or would you like to take a 10-minute break? Keep going? Okay. Then let's move on to hyphens. Is everyone finished with up to 17? Page 17? Okay, there's, in number 1, there's a spelling error. Should be dose, not does, or does. Who would like to read that sentence with the answer, please? Okay, thank you.
A liberally sprinkled dose of humor was very much appreciated.
So your answer is A. That's correct. If the dose was spelled right.
Yes.
A liberally sprinkled dose of humor was very much appreciated. 1 is A.
It's not, that's does, isn't it?
It's what?
You have does.
I know.
I corrected it. It's supposed to be dose.
Oh.
It's a misspelling.
Oh,
Dose. 1 is A.
Okay.
Who would like to read number 2?
Sure. B. The friendly-looking vet examined our dog's paw and suggested we have it bandaged.
For number 2, choose the correct sentence. I have the friendly-looking vet, a hyphen in between friendly and looking. Even though it's an ly ending, it's an adjective in that case. So I would hyphenate friendly-looking vet. I would.
Because it's not the looking vet, it's not the, it's together.
I mean, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, that's just, you know, what I'm saying. Anybody else would do it? A, B? Okay. How about number 3? A. Choose the correct sentence. Our dog was semi-invalid for a couple of days until she chewed off the bandage. That's A. What if it was a semi-invalid?
Somebody, if the dog was a semi-invalid, period.
So I can,
Huh? I'm sorry. What did you say?
I said I would still like it.
Would you?
Even with
The dog was semi-invalid? Well, the reason, I know you were changing it, but the reason, okay, in prefixes, semi ends in an I, invalid begins with an I, the root word begins with an I. That's why you put the hyphen there. Except when it comes to O's and E's, and then there's no hyphens. And that's going to come up later. But, huh?
I do that with E also.
Oh, you do? When it's a prefix, other than like, nah, I'm not talking about, but semi, pre-existing, no.
Yeah, she's saying with the E and the O, you don't put the hyphen in there, right?
Right, like cooperation. There's no hyphens in cooperation. Co-worker.
I always put it in.
The next one, 4. Choose the correct sentence. That point should be, I have C, but there you go. You corrected me because I was thinking as again. When re means again, you would put the hyphen after the re. But because it's the same vowel and then in the E, you would. You're correct. Thank you.
So you would put the hyphen in there?
No hyphen. Or would be B. B. Choose the correct sentence. For B, the point should be re-emphasized. Okay. Well, really, with prefixes and root words, if they start and end with the same vowel, you put the hyphen in, unless it deals with O's and E's, you do not, like cooperation, co-owner, no hyphen. But here again, yes, but here they're saying with the re, because it's the same, the vowels, that you could, so that maybe could be correct 2 ways.
Yeah.
Because the re means you use the hyphen with the re when it means again. You're doing the point again, you're re-emphasizing it.
Right. I always put the hyphen in.
The chairs.
Recovering the chairs, right. That's a hyphen right there. That one's a hyphen. 5 is choose the correct sentence. Uncle Jim enjoys recovering hyphen chairs. Okay, number 6.
That would be B for resolve.
To resolve the case, correct. They already solved it once, so now they need to resolve it. Because of the new DNA evidence, comma, the police need to solve the case.
How about resolve?
Yeah.
It's finished, resolve.
That's right.
the case.
Resolve the case. But there's new evidence, so they need to reopen it to resolve it. Then to resolve it. Yeah. Okay, number 7.
It would be for resolve.
Yes, that's correct. Please sign the document you signed yesterday. Yes, right. Number 8, choose the correct sentence. Please recollect exhibits, counsel. Now, you guys would do A? Yeah, because he's doing it again. He's doing it. Thank you. He is recollecting. He's not recollecting the exhibits. He's recollecting them. Thank you. Okay, who would like to do number 9? B, yes, the felon jumped from a 2-story building. Number 10, anyone?
I put A, like down in one word.
Yes. The cancellation of the deposition was supposed to be an 0-3, comma, was a real letdown. A.
What did you say the answer to 9 was?
The answer to 9 is B.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Number 11, please. A, correct. When dealing with amiable attorneys, comma, you can let down 2 words, your guard. Number 12. A, when trying to make money, comma, you certainly have to have a go hyphen get hyphen it attitude. Yeah. Go get it. Okay, number 13.
I put B, the left-handed boxer.
Yes, 13 is B, the left-handed boxer always clocked his opponent.
I have a question when I jump when they ask if you're right or left-handed. That I don't hyphen. Left-handed, right-handed, because it's not left-handed something. See what I mean? So when they ask if you're right or left-handed, then I just have left-handed as
But it's
one.
not modifying
And I don't know if
anything,
that's
so you
right.
don't need the,
Pardon me?
it's not modifying anything.
Right, that's what I mean, that's why I made it one word.
Then you don't need to hyphenate.
So her question was if you are you left or are you right-handed? And your answer is since it's not modifying anything, it doesn't need the hyphen.
Right, that's what I do.
But how about if they say are you left-hand dominant?
It's modifying.
It's
Yeah.
modifying, so then you do. Okay. Number 14.
I put A, this is non-hyphen grade reading material.
Okay. I would like to hear the reasons for the A's and the B's.
The A is because it's describing the material. It's ninth grade
Okay.
reading material, so it's kind of like,
But reading is describing.
And you said the reading material is describing what? Okay, the B's. What's the reason for the B? Huh?
I mean, if you had put this as really good reading material, you wouldn't hyphenate that.
You're right about that. You're right about that. But really is also an adverb ending in an ly, so that's hard to make that comparison though.
This is super hard reading material.
No, it's super hard. Okay. Then you would hyphenate it, wouldn't you?
No.
No, you're right, you wouldn't. First grade reading material, second grade reading material.
Ever hyphenate any first, second, third, any of that. Anything with grade.
It depends. If you're saying it's reading material for the 9th grade, I don't think you'd have to, but if you're saying it's like 9th grade level or
reading
9th grade
material.
difficulty or something like that, maybe. But still, just the way it is here, I would say no.
No.
I don't know if I'm right, but that's
That makes sense, like if it was 9th grade
level.
level
like
reading
difficulty.
material, because level would be the modifier, then it would need a hyphen. So in this case,
so
no.
reading isn't the modifier in this one.
No,
I would
it's,
say
no,
hyphen.
no hyphen. So for all of you that may have missed some of that, 14 is B, no hyphen. This is 9th grade reading material. Number 15.
I put B.
B. Because of, or beware of high hyphen pressure schedulers. Do any of us know any of those? I'm sure you're not. Or you have somebody doing your scheduling, right?
High pressure
Huh?
You're looking at it.
Right.
I'm not high pressure, no.
No?
No, okay.
That's nice to know. Okay, now we're moving on to suspension hyphens here. Okay. You don't like what, honey?
I don't like the way it looks at all.
I don't either. I don't either, but A is right. I just heard somebody say that. Samantha taught first, hyphen, comma, second, hyphen, comma, and third, hyphen, grade students. These are suspended hyphens, which are multiple compound adjectives, and they all share the last element. And that's why you put in the hyphen, even though it's looking suspended. Yes. Okay. So that was A. 16 was A. Does anyone want to read 17, please? Yeah. Okay.
A.
Yes.
Chicago Auto Show had foreign and domestic built cars.
That's correct. 17, the Chicago Auto Show had foreign hyphen and domestic hyphen built cars. Number 18. A, the realtor, and realtor is correct, cap there, showed us all of the remodeled first, hyphen, comma, second, hyphen, and third floor unit, third hyphen floor units. Number 19? A. Drew Peterson was shocked when he received a 20-230- sentence in prison. He shouldn't have been, but okay. How about number 20, ladies?
That would be the same principle, A.
Yes, the same A. Yes. Chicago hyphen or Milwaukee hyphen bound passengers can enter the metro off of Jackson Boulevard. So 20 is A. Number 21, anti-aircraft would be It's A. It's A. When using prefix, if a prefix ends in one vowel and the root word begins with a different vowel, attach them without a hyphen. It looks strange. It looks strange. It's harder to read.
Because for anti-inflammatory, I hyphen the anti-inflammatory. So wouldn't that be?
Because they both end in I's. The prefix ends in an I and the root word starts with an I.
Otherwise, it's not hyphenated?
Choose the correct word for anti-anxious.
I put C.
That's correct. Number 22, ultra-anxious, is C with the hyphen. Christina's looking something up. Something's really bothering her. Which one's bothering you? That anti-inflammatory, anti-aircraft? Which one is bothering you?
Anti-words.
The anti-words? Okay.
Anti-aircraft, I just checked it. Webster said that it's one word.
Yes. Yes. Okay. And it says that the current trend seems to be saying to do away with the hyphens, but we'd rather be correct instead of being trendy. Antidepressant?
I picked A.
You picked A. It's B. Antidepressant is B. 23 is B. Where are you guys at? Is somebody behind back there, or?
Yeah, we were, just for one question.
Okay.
I had high pressure in our advertisements and stuff, and we couldn't decide whether it used a hyphen or not, and I decided to use either way, but yours says you need the hyphen.
That's because the word schedule is entered, right?
High pressure. What was your high pressure?
Situations.
Situations should have been hyphenated.
So if there's a word after high pressure, it's hyphenated. If there's no word, then it's not.
Right. Okay. I'm glad you came back. You're asking questions. We just answered 23. Choose the correct word. Antidepressant is B with no hyphen. And if some of you ladies don't like these rules, I can tell by your looks, you don't like them. It's not horrible. If you want to do anti-inflammatory or antidepressant with a hyphen, they're not going to send the transcripts back. And it's just, making us think of all the different things that we have to think of in a transcript, but it's not going to change the meaning of anything. So if you like the way you've been doing it, please keep doing it. Don't have to think, what was the vowel and what was the modifier? And okay, do we do antifreeze 24?
I put B.
Yes, B is correct. Antifreeze with no hyphen. Now, self words are always hyphenated, correct? I heard someone say something about self words, yes. Choose the correct word for 25. Anyone want to give a stab at that one? B is the but. If it's un-American, it would be hyphen before the proper noun.
Ah, okay.
Non-professional, which one on 26?
That was a hard one.
C? Yeah, what is that?
That is C.
No hyphen?
Does it depend on the usage?
Non-professional.
He was a non-professional or he had a non-professional attitude.
Unless it is a noun. I have non-prefixes are connected directly to the root word unless it is a noun. A noun. Like
non-entity?
Non-union?
See, I like non-entity with a hyphen. But that's
a noun. That depends on the context. Because if you're talking about a union person.
If you're talking about a union person, a minimum of non-union, that's a noun.
With a non-union of a bone, then I'm making one word.
That one's a tricky one. I don't know. Non-union worker, I would put the hyphen in there because it's also modifying and it's also a proper noun. But the non-union bone, I'm not so sure about that one.
You still have to make that too?
No, I don't know. I don't think that I would. No. Okay. Number 27. A, non-existent. Once again, a non-word.
Could you say that rule for non again, please?
Non-prefixes are connected directly to the root word unless it is a noun. You're welcome. We did 27 right, which was non-existent, one word. Self-pace is B. Oh, B or C, correct. That one's on there twice.
So it's which one, B?
B or C. It's listed the same. It's listed on there twice.
It's never one word. I think it's C.
Self words are always hyphenated. Unless we just did this semi. It depends on the vowel. If it's the same vowel after it, you use the hyphen in the root word. Okay. Cooperation. Yes. And then 30.
I put A. I only type A code.
Cooperation, okay, the root words and the prefixes are separated if it is the same vowel with the prefix and the root word, except for O words. Cooperation, I can't think of any other. Co-owner, if they both are O's, it's one word.
Because when you think of co-owner or co-worker, it's describing that person. So that's why I put a hyphen for co-worker, co-owner. Cooperate I use as one, but I put a hyphen for co-worker, co-owner.
It's and this could be a new this could be a new rule, and you may want to look this up in whichever style guide you like. But it says co-words that don't begin with an O are usually one word. I like it with co-worker, co-owner, co-payment. I kind of like it with the hyphen, but it's saying not to use the hyphen with the co.
Yeah, Merriam-Webster has co-author, co-worker, co-pilot, all without hyphens.
Well, definitely can read better when there's a hyphen in it, or something like that.
But the rules tell us to do it that way.
No hyphen.
No hyphen, correct, no hyphen. But I can see what you're saying. It's easier to read sometimes with the hyphen in there. So if you like it, keep using it, and you don't have to go through and change your whole dictionary. You know, it's
especially co-worker, because the first thing you see is C-O-W. You know what I mean?
yeah, right. I was gonna say, would you guys like me to give you my? Because I know you want to just go home and do some more seminar stuff. But I could give you my email address, and if you guys want to ever question me about the answers to anything, feel free. It's not on there, but it's my name that's on there, Carrie, Pique, C-A-R-R-I-E, P-I-Q-U-E, @yahoo.com. If you want the answers or for the rest that we didn't get to finish. And it's been lovely. I loved your participation. You guys were great audience. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day and your cookies and Mother's Day.
Well, there you go. You're done. How easy was that? I hope you had a great time taking this program. Now you have a few more CEUs to add to your CEU bucket there. Now remember, if you're taking one of our longer courses, please wait until you finish all the seminars before you send us your answers. And please try to, if you're going to put them in an email, copy them in one straight vertical line, separated by the different course titles. And that makes it easy for me to grade, makes it go a lot faster, and I don't make any mistakes. Well, not so much. Okay. And also you can scan them in order and send them to me as well. Remember, we're always putting new content up here. Every year we will have at least 4 to 10 more hours worth of CEUs that you can get here from the comfort of your home. So if you know more court reporters that would like to get their credits that way, please let them know about it. And remember, your home for CEUs online, Jeff Justice Seminars, where you can get your CEUs online anytime.